Welcome back, and sorry for the wait. We're back after a loss, which we hate. We aren't an entitled bunch, so we'll be right. Let's now crack on with Sheff United Way podcast number 8. Ollie, how you doing, mate?
I liked it, Nick. You kidded with me that you weren't going to rhyme this time, and I'm so glad that you did. And I knew after the first line, I was like, "Oh, he's rhyming."
You're like,
Love
I'm
to
in.
see it.
I am in.
This is a podcast. We're all back. He's rhyming. Everything's going to be okay. But no, yeah, I thought, at the very least, there was a slightly better performance from United yesterday. So let's focus on a little bit of positive. So I'm doing well. How are you doing? How's Louis? How's everybody?
Yeah, really good, mate. This theme will probably be Manchester United related because,
Nice.
we've not got a hell of a lot to talk about. International breaks just happened, so all we're really going to talk about is one game of football. I think the last time we spoke, we had a game in between. I think it was the Fulham game, but let's not talk too much about that Fulham game because it was terrible and horrific for lots of different reasons. So, Anyway, let's talk about us. We need to do the banterous bit at the start. Not that it's a lot of banter, it's just us talking about our lives. So, first and foremost, I've not told anyone this, so this is a first. I went to Influencer Boxing in Manchester for the KSI Tommy Fury, Logan Paul, Dylan Dennis fight. Yes, it was a fantastic day out / night out.
Yeah.
Ruined by the boxing.
Yeah, that was not high quality boxing.
I don't even know if it was boxing, to be perfectly honest.
I'm fairly confident that Logan. I would have really enjoyed the Logan Paul one because that was WWE. That was not boxing at all. That was right up my alley. I'd have been like, "Oh yeah, script it and stick it in the Rumble. I'll have a great time." But selling that as a boxing match is pushing the realms of what is actually capable of being called sport.
Yeah, well, I went with the Indigo boys.
Hey!
I went with the Indigo Resurrection boys, and I had a really, really good time. Most of them I'd never met before, but no, really, really good guys. The tickets were very, very expensive. I didn't have to pay the full lot because my mate kind of subsidised it for me because he's got a lot more money than I have. We also stayed in a penthouse as well, which was very, very nice too. So, all in all, mate, I had a fantastic time. Yeah. Like I said, the boxing kind of ruined it because we were in rounds, and one of the lads that was in our round was just like, at the arena, we were like, shall I just get these in? Because you know how expensive pints are at the arena. And they were 2 pinters as well. So it were like,
yeah,
I think he was sweating when ordering them. I think it came to about 50 quid.
How many? 3?
3 2 pinters, yeah.
Yeah, I would not be shocked. So I used to work in Sheffield Arena, and I think that'll be 10 years ago, something like that.
They did 2 pinters back then.
And they did 2 pinters, and they were about 8 quid a chuck then. So now I imagine they're probably about 15 quid a chuck.
I think we worked it out as they were like 8 quid a pint, which actually doesn't sound too bad for the arena, for an arena. But yeah, still not great because in Manchester, you're probably looking at 6-7 quid a pint, I would think. Don't get me wrong. These days, I'm just tapping. Like, I'm not even looking. I'm just tapping. And like, that's not because I've got loads of money. You just don't think about it anymore.
You don't want to know. You want a pint. You don't want to know how much that's going to cost you. Just tap it, and then when it gets rejected, ask somebody else at the bar to help.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. So what about you, mate? What have you been up to?
So, most importantly, I'm going to close this window because somebody is knocking on the door very loud. I don't know if you can hear it or not, but it's so loud.
As you've just said that, dog's barking next door. So this is probably all going to stay in because this is what it's like.
This is what it's like. This is how we film. Just count yourself lucky I've shut the door because otherwise the dog would have been in. She'd have been trying to get out the window. That would have been a farce.
With a cone on still.
Imagine. No, she's fortunately got a cone off now, and she just walks around with the one eye, walking into stuff. But she is all right. No, we're all right. I think not really. I don't think I've done all since I last spoke to you. You know,
That's
I'd had that
crazy
run.
because
I know.
I'm the one that does nothing and you do
Yeah.
everything, and it's switched around on its head.
I mean, I say that I've had like 4 leaving dues at work.
No.
Every time with a different group of people. So I spent most of the time a little bit off cut. But other than that, I've done no. I've been saving things up, Anna. I've thought, well, we've not got a podcast for a bit. I'll have notes to talk about. So let's just not do anything. And then we've got stuff on this week, though. You know, I'm going to be busy. I'm at a gig on Wednesday night. I'm off to see Dust Coda. If anybody knows who they are. They've got a gig on Wednesday night. And then Friday night, I'm going to, and I cannot figure out how this is going to work, right? So have you seen Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse?
Is that the cartoon?
The cartoon with Miles Morales. Well, it's fantastic. So I'm going to see it on Friday at the, I think it must be at the Lyceum, but it might be at the Crucible, with a live orchestra, which I've seen it for Star Wars in the past, and it is fantastic. The live orchestra are great. But the music in Into the Spider-Verse is rap music, generally speaking. It's like Sunflower and songs like that. Yeah. I have no idea how an orchestra is going to do it. Like,
orchestras, who's going to mate? Orchestras can smash anything. Have you seen what's that that Netflix show that do like new music, modern music, but like in a classical way? I forgot what it's called now.
I have not seen.
It's like set in the past. I can't remember. But yeah, classical music can do anything, mate. Anything.
Well, I will confirm that for you on Friday night when I've been to watch Into the Spider-Verse, and I know how well they do rap music. I love how now we can tell that you've lost all interest in the conversation while you Google what show you're talking about on Netflix. And so I monologue for a little bit while you just get your Google out, and I wait to stop seeing your hands moving. Again, a little bit of insight into the process that we go through.
Yeah, do you know what? The problem that I've got is that I have no idea what this is called, and I don't know anyone who's in it. What is going on, mate? What has this turned into? I'm still looking. I need to know.
The idea.
The people need to know. Bridgerton! Go on!
Is Bridgerton not like... I mean, admittedly, I've not seen it, but is this not like some kind of like royal drama that's just set in the past with like relatively up-to-date characters? And that Reggie Jean-Paul or whatever it's called.
I watched 2 episodes about 3 years ago. I've got no idea what Bridgerton's about. Set in the old days, and it's modern music.
10 minutes. 10 minutes of a podcast trying to remember what Bridgerton was. Amazing. And then you went, have we seen 2 episodes?
Let's move on. This is going to be the first time and the only time I ever tell people how much this channel earns. And when I say this channel, I mean Sheff United Way Extra. So we've been monetized for roundabout, I would say, a month, something like that. Want to have a guess how much we've made, Ollie?
The last time that I got an update from you, I think we'd made 7p.
We've now earned £2.76.
Nice. Yeah, boys. Raking it in. When can I retire, Nick?
Well, you do the maths. You do the maths, mate.
I'll be about 2,500, something like that.
2,500. Yeah, that's a year.
Yeah, I reckon I'll be able to retire when I get to about 2,500.
One thing I will say is you never seen any of this money.
No, I know. It's all right. I knew that already, mate.
£2.76. Right, Ollie, let's talk about Sheffield United versus Manchester United. First and foremost, what did you expect going into this game? Did you expect much?
No, I expected nothing at all. I thought that we were... probably going to lose about 4-0. I thought that Rashford was going to tear us apart down the left. I thought his pace would absolutely annihilate us. I thought that Højlund would probably bully whatever centre-half pairing we managed to get together. And I just thought we were never going to lay a glove on him. And I was so wrong. For 45 minutes, I was so wrong. Only 45 minutes.
I'm going to let you do most of the talking because I've already gone through this. Hal's already gone through this. We've got a fantastic video on the Sheff United Way YouTube channel, our main channel, where Hal does a deep dive with all great fans of the club in a live fans react. So I'm now going to ask you some questions, Ollie, and you just tell me what you thought. So, obviously, just asked you about that. Just asked you about what you expected. When you saw that Enel wasn't in the starting lineup and he picked up an injury, were you thinking we've got even less chance?
I was just, honestly, you can't put into words the injuries, can you? Like, it's insane. And my immediate response was, well, of course he is, because everybody else is injured. 4 of our starting back 5 are now injured. I just thought we got no chance. You saw the team come out. You saw us playing a back 4 for the first time in God knows how long. We saw who the back 4 were, bearing in mind that I think if we were choosing it, it would probably be Anel and Egan. And so we've got our second choice defence anyway. It just felt as though it was all just lining up to be another really, really embarrassing one. I was not particularly happy when I saw that team news.
Well, on the live fans react, I'm giving it a lot of promo here.
Yeah.
Somebody mentioned, sorry, whoever it was, I apologize, that if you chose in those positions a starter from all the defenders, ignoring injuries, not one of them players would have played.
Nope.
You've probably got Norrington Davis at left back, possibly. Better defender than anyone else that we've got. Maybe not as good going forward, but you'd have probably had him there, ignore the injuries. And Ellen Egan, like you just said, they're probably on paper our best 2 centre-backs. Maybe not this season, but on paper our best 2 centre-backs. And then you'd probably have George at right back, wouldn't you?
100%. That's the one that is most nailed on.
I don't know why I said
George Baldock is absolutely nailed on. Like, I think he's the biggest loss in the team, to be honest, that we've got at the moment, until we maybe get onto another injury that potentially happened during the game. But yeah, I think what we did see, though, is that now reflecting on it, I would want Trusty in there. I thought Trusty had a fantastic game.
Trusty the really process, mate. Hashtag Trusty the process. What a guy. Sorry.
Hashtag Trusty the process. Obviously. Don't know where I was when my head wasn't immediately there.
That's his tagline. That is his tagline. He uses it himself. Which you need to self-promote. You always need to self-promote.
Yeah, you're right. I'm clearly not good enough at self-promotion, and I need to get better. I need to learn from pros like Austin and yourself. But yeah, I thought he was outstanding. And so I think he would probably now get into, if we're playing a back 4, he would probably get into the 2. I don't know who instead of, but to be honest, possibly Egan. Because I don't know. I think the whole reason that we failed the back 4 experiment under Slav is potentially that Egan can't play in a 4. And I think he's built to play in a 5.
Yeah. I don't know what he did before Sheff United. I don't know how he...
Didn't play very often, I don't think.
Well, he played for Brentford. I think he played a lot for Brentford. But I don't know. I think he did play in a 3 centre-backs. But I'm not 100% sure, and you are Googling as we speak. This is a Googling podcast. This is a Googling podcast.
To be fair, he played 81 games for Gillingham as well. Now, Gillingham surely didn't play a back 5.
It's League One football, isn't it, mate? Now he's playing Premier League football.
They were playing a back 4, definitely.
Yeah. There's no back 5 in... Well, we were back 5 in League One, and we won the division with 100 points. So, yeah. Maybe a lot more teams need to move to a back 5.
Maybe they do. Maybe they. Well, I think the thing is that particularly defensively, it lets you hide your deficiencies, doesn't it? So in terms of the style, if you're struggling for pace, then you have another extra player next to you who can either cover in behind you as a sweeper, or they can pick up for you with pace, depending on how you want to play that three. If you're not good in the air, then you have an aerially dominant player alongside you. There's no one weakness because generally no one's playing a front three against central defenders. So you've got two on, and there's always a spare who can cover up for issues that you've got. Or if there's one, then you pick the one most able to counter their abilities, have them man mark with 2-3 behind in case of further problems coming in. So it covers your deficiencies and is a sensible way of us doing that. But I think that's what we've been doing for Egan. And I think the 3 covers up for what he's not great at. And so if you switch to a 4, I don't think he has the same cover, and it probably takes out what he's good at. I don't think he can just focus on the style of play that suits him best if we switch to a 4. And so it might be that it needs to be an Ellen Trusty. Might be that it needs to be Trusty and Robinson, because I thought both did very well yesterday.
Yeah, they did. And I think it takes away that, you need a right-footed player on the right-hand side, a left-footed player on the left-hand side. I don't think it really matters as much when it's 4. No. But I actually thought they were a lot more compact than 5. And that's weird to say. You've got more defenders defending, especially in the Premier League, where we're not massively pushing our wing backs forward, or we haven't been. So you've got 5 defenders. Like, we played 4 defenders last night, and we looked, especially with Bogle being more of an attacking right back or right wing back, and Thomas being more of an attacking left back or left wing back.
The best thing I think I can describe is that I thought all 4 of them did more than I would have expected from them. And I can't really ask them to do any more than that. I'm not going to say that they were brilliant. I'm not going to say that they were the best defence that we're ever going to see. Obviously, for the first goal we conceded, there's a lot of stuff going on there that needs to be unpacked by a therapist, I think. But there's just... So it wasn't perfect, but I think for the players that they are, for the expectations that we've got, Bogle and Thomas both did as well. Well, both did a lot better than I thought they would be able to at the start of the game when you look at the players against them. Thomas has got one massive flaw in his game, though, that will cost us significantly at some point, and it opened so much space yesterday in that he's so proactive trying to defend, he just can't let his man go. And the amount of times that you see him in the centre or on the right, and you just think, wait a minute, look at all this space behind you. What are you doing? And it was a bit similar first half, to be honest. I thought we gave Rashford way too much space. Fortunately, he had one of the days that Rashford tends to have quite regularly these days and just didn't do all. But we were giving up a lot of space. Even though I thought they all did well and did better than I ever thought they would be able to, you could still see the flaws in their game defensively.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's move on from the defence for a minute, because I think we can all admit that they did better. Like you said, did a lot better than what we expected. We were worried going into it. I think mostly because we're not used to seeing 4 at the back, and it scares us all.
So I bumped into one of my old friends in the pub before. I don't see him very regularly, but bump into him every now and again, and sometimes see him in the pub. And he shouted to me from the other side of the pub. He went, "Oh, you'll know this because you write random stuff. When was the last time we played a back 4?" And I was like, "Probably Slav." And he was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot about Slav. Never mind. Cheers."
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was, weren't it? Yeah, it were.
Yeah,
it just were.
Obviously, it's a very interesting question to answer before Slav, because obviously, if you think Heke and Wilder both have been very wedded to this system, it was probably that early season. I think Oxford that we won at home, I think we'd still got a back 4 then. But yeah, it has been a long old time, so we're definitely not used to seeing it, and it probably does scare us, given the experiment with Slav was such a dramatic failure.
I think we have played it once or twice when we've had injuries. I think under Wilder, maybe. We've certainly moved to it in game.
Yeah, I think we've shifted in game, but I don't think we've ever started with it.
I think we have. Let us know in the comments. I think we have at once or twice, not often. I think maybe it's one of them in the Premier League when we're getting battered every week, that we looked at it and thought it was going to be a back 4, and maybe it wasn't. Yeah, no.
Yeah. When Ampadu was there, we were like, it might as well be a back 4 because one of them don't count.
Yeah, absolutely. And I saw a tweet the other day that said, "Is Ampadu the best player to ever play in the Championship?" Like, what? What? Like, don't get me wrong. I've not seen him play football this season at all for Leeds. He might be pulling up trees.
Come on.
But yeah.
Come on. Come on.
Let's move on to the midfield because Ollie Norwood, yes, his free kicks were dreadful last night. He barely beat the first man, but I think a lot of people have got a vendetta against Ollie Norwood without realizing that they've got a vendetta against him. And if he makes one mistake, he does 10 things right. He makes one mistake. They remember that one thing, and they don't remember all the good things that he does. And I think sometimes they don't even see the good things that he does because sometimes it's unnoticeable because, like, if he's not there, we concede a chance. He is there. That's fine. He's very good positionally. But also, let's just look past that point for a second and think about what you said in your video on the Sheff United Way main channel. It frees up Harmer to do so much more going forward. And I want to see Harmer a lot further forward than further back. And I honestly thought Norwood there last night brought out the best in McAtee and brought out the best in Gus Harmer, as well as Cameron Archer, Ollie McBurney, everyone else. So I really liked those two defensive midfielders yesterday.
First off, I definitely agree. I do think they made a difference. I think I completely understand, and there was a frustration with free kicks and corners because they were really, really poor. They either hit the first man. It did make me laugh second half where I'd spent probably about 50 minutes. Oh, why does every corner hit first man? And then the next one went over everybody and past the last man. And I thought, well, he's overcorrected. He gave me what I wanted, but it turns out he's just not quite got it right yet. But no, I think the disrespect on Norwood's name's insane. United just cannot play the way that they do without him. Like I say, I thought for 45 minutes yesterday, we were really good. And he's an integral part of that. He helps us. He frees up Sousa and McAtee, like you say, so they can get forward. They can support the attack. Second half, what we saw was we were getting pinned back and we couldn't get out. We couldn't hold the ball up front. We saw McAtee and Harmer disappear from the game. Before they were subbed, they'd just not had an impact on the game at all. And that shows you what an impact those two players can make. And so let's try and get the best out of them. And the way to do that is with Vinny Sousa and Norwood taking care of their defensive duties and with, we'll come on to it, I'm sure, McBurney up front just being brilliant.
We were fantastic when he was on the pitch. Yes. Fantastic when he was on the pitch, holding the ball up, bringing other players into the game, brings the best out of Archer every time. Archer plays well, it's with McBurney. When McBurney's not on the pitch, Archer loses a lot of what he's good at and kind of drifts out of the game. And that's what happened yesterday, unfortunately.
That's right. I think McBurney was brilliant, to be honest. I thought he was so good. Like you say, he properly brought the best out of Archer. I think it was the best. I know he didn't score. I know he did score 2 against Everton, but I do think that was the best Archer had played for 45 minutes whilst McBurney was on the pitch. I think what it showed more than anything yesterday was that we could pin Manchester United back. Where we've struggled in recent games, since Newcastle, for me, is that we've just not been able to get our attacking players or our midfield players on the ball. We've had no outball, no way to get a bit of control, get a bit of possession, and therefore build a little bit of pressure. And McBurney allowed us to do that so well. He was winning flick-ons, he was strong, he was keeping the ball, he was holding it up. His interplay with Archer was excellent. It meant that McAtee and Harmer could actually get forwards because we'd held the ball for 10 seconds to allow him to make up the distance. And I thought he was really good. He really deserved his goal. Obviously, there will be people in the comments who do have thoughts about McBurney, and they'll be saying, but what about that chance he missed in first minute? To be honest with you, he were offside anyway, so it wouldn't have counted. And for me, I'd rather him miss it than him score it and then get VAR'd, because that would have just killed my spirit. But you're right, he's not a clinical finisher. That's not what McBurney's fantastic at. We've seen that before. He's not necessarily going to put in every chance that comes his way. I would much rather him have moved out of the way and let Archer smash it, because I think we can back that Archer is always going to take those chances. But what McBurney brings to the team is just so, so valuable. And I think after yesterday, he's probably our most valuable player. I think that he's the only one who will actually actively make a difference to how we can perform in games. Because as we've seen from the defenders, they go in, they come out, or generally speaking, as a unit, we have a level of defensive responsibility and defensive ability. The midfield are very good when they can get involved in the game, but they need someone to help them get in the game. And that player's McBurney. And so I do think he's the one that we can't do without. And so rumours are that it was a groin injury that took him off. He's very injury prone, and it's really concerning that if it is a groin injury, you know, with the way muscle injuries are treated at United, we'll probably not see him for about 18 months. So fingers crossed we have him back as soon as possible because he's so important.
Yeah. Yeah. I really, really hope it was just
Nothing.
Precautionary. Just take him off because it's... But I can't see it being precautionary because why would you take off someone so integral to how you play?
Playing so well at 1-1 at home, you're not taking him off for a strategic reason, are you? He's gone off injured, and that's so concerning because we really need him. And if we don't have him, then sadly, we have to go out and spend some money in January to buy a player like him. There were rumours of Kiefer Moore in the summer. He could come in and do that kind of job because we need somebody who's got a physical presence who can hold the ball up. And so if we have got an injury and McBurney can't be relied upon, then we have to get somebody in to do that job. Because as much as Brewster tried when he came on, he did win 2, 3, 4 flick-ons. He's just very clearly not suited to that same kind of role. It's just not what... We're not getting the most out of him or giving him the opportunity to show us what he's good at. We need McBurney or a player who can do that same job.
Yeah, agreed. A few big points from yesterday that I really enjoyed. Bruce's shot was fantastic, and if that had just swerved in...
If that had gone in, I cannot imagine how much the roof would have come off Bramall Lane. Honestly, because we'd just spent, in not a rude way, but obviously, Ryan Bruce has had a mixed time during his time at United, and believing that he's going to come on to change the game and help you beat Manchester United, given the history that we've got, was a relatively unlikely scenario. And so we had spent 5 minutes saying, oh, come on, here we go. Brewdog's going to get hat-trick and we're going to smash Man United. And, you know, that had been enjoyed by people in the vicinity. So when he then turns and smacks one from 30 yards and it looks like it's flying in, Bramall Lane would have absolutely erupted. Can you record £20-odd million signing coming off the bench after having had a terrible 3 years to score a potential winner against Man U? That would have been one of the best moments of the season by a mile. I so wish it had gone in.
I know.
It would have been so good.
Everybody would have been happy for him. I think what I love about him is the fact that we were talking about hopefully him getting confidence in his body, but he certainly has confidence in his shooting ability. Like, he's never stopped shooting, ever. And I think we've always known he's got an absolute hammer of a shot. But that swerve that was on it as well, because I couldn't really tell, because I'm on the south stand. All I saw was Onana going one way and then correcting himself and pulling the save off. But yeah. But no, fantastic shot. Also, what I wanted to say was Trusty jumping up, trying to stop the throw-in. That was fantastic. I don't want to see bookings there. I don't, because...
Get a sense of humour, guys.
Exactly. Let's be honest. Go on.
It was a booking, right? What I will say, I don't want to see it.
Stop it.
I don't want to see it, but by the rule of the game, it is a booking. But bearing in mind we'd had a penalty 30 seconds before, which Fernandez had stood on penalty spot, not letting us take it for at least a minute. And then Onana had stood to one side, kicking his boots against post and wasting as much time as he could. For them to not get booked and then Trust to get booked for this, I'm not having that. That's the thing. Give me some consistency or just go away, is what I was going to end that sentence with all times.
I thought you would, because you're not much of a swearer, are you, in real life?
No. But I mean, referees, innit?
Referees, innit? Yeah. Do you know what? It's going to sound weird. And like, if we had put more points on the board this season, I probably wouldn't be feeling like this. But I really enjoyed last night. I really did. And that shows how low we are right now.
We are. And we probably should mention, this is by no way. I came out of the ground, I couldn't believe this, but that was Manchester United we played yesterday. Like, no, I know they're not the Manchester United of old, but how is that what Manchester United have become? Are they the worst Man U team that you've ever seen? Because they're rubbish.
Yeah. Fergie had some bad ones at the end, as in like he left
know,
when
but
he had to,
he
but
did. But
still,
he also
it was
left when they
Carrick,
just wouldn't leave.
it was Carrick, it was Fletcher, it was still these pros that like no, they're not very good. But at the same
Nothing.
time, mate, you've got your right back curling ball into the top corner from outside box. You're not seeing Gary Neville do that.
No, admittedly,
Gary Neville's not on the edge of the box.
No, he weren't. And Gary Neville weren't going to fight top corner from there.
I understand your point. It was a very, very bad Manchester United team. But the thing is, Man United fans saying that was the best chance you were ever going to get to beat Man United. First and foremost, the last time we played them,
Literally, last time
we beat them. Yeah. But not just that. I don't think any of them, one, know, two, care that we've got probably more injuries than they've got. So, like, fair enough. We've got a few of our marquee players have not picked up injuries, other than obviously Ollie McBurney. So we're lucky in that sense. But they don't know that we've got 300 left backs injured. They don't know that our best right back is injured. They don't know that the captain's injured. They don't know. They probably don't even know that we've sold Illiman and Dye and Sanderberger, two of our best players from last season. So, like, they're moaning about only having Rashford.
The subs when Christian Eriksen comes off bench, and you're like, oh yeah, sorry, yeah, you must be going through a crisis if you've only got Christian Eriksen to come off bench. Oh, good lord, what hope have they got?
Garnacho as well, fantastic player coming on. Martial, but he scored a hat trick against us a couple of seasons ago.
Yeah.
Martial, like, don't get me wrong, he's not a Man United starter, but I tell you what, he looked to bully. I don't know if it was Trusty or Jack Robinson, but he's bigger and stronger than I remember Martial.
Well, all of them are. This is the thing that I've noticed since we've actually got promoted. Every team, like you look, some play like they're like Garnacho. They're skillful, small, fast players. Are also about 6'2" and really strong.
I'm not sure Garnacho's 6'2".
No, he's probably not. But he's bigger and stronger than I thought he was good. Like, our little uns are so much smaller. Like, our big uns are the size of their little uns. Like, it's insane. Like, look at Archer, and you think, he's tiny. Nobody else's strikers are tiny.
No, they're just not, are they? They're just not. But
our big uns, I thought it, like, against Harry Maguire, it's insane, the size. Like, they dare to complain that he's not good enough. I mean, they were laughing. I was laughing with a Man U fan before the game, and he was like, yeah, Johnny Evans is starting at centre-half. What a joke. Oh, how bad are we? He would start every week for us without a question.
He would be captain. We'd be thinking, if we'd had a midfield crisis, we're like, Johnny Evans will sort this out.
So insane. We'd be Johnny Evans United. We'd be like, oh, Johnny Evans and Sheffield United are here today. Like, it's insane.
Do you know what, though? Last night, Harry Maguire getting man of the match. I think he got man of the match on Sky. Like,
yeah,
what?
He did.
What? I don't remember him doing many things, to be fair. Maybe that's the reason.
Not being rude, but Man U won, and so a Man U player has to get man at match because that's just what Sky do. Yeah. That's the way it goes. And were any of the others any good?
I don't think any of them were that good, to be fair.
None of them were any good, were they, at the end of the day? I mean, first goal it's not like McTominay's done no, has it, at the end of the day?
He's given away a penalty as well.
Then given away a pen.
So he's not getting
Dalot has scored a goal, so I suppose he could have got it, but none of them stood out. So I suppose they've picked him because he got a cheer from United fans before the start, which probably was like, oh, we can tell a good story about Harry Maguire getting cheered by opposition fans and winning man of the match. Yeah. Comeback is on, redemption arc. So they've probably done it for that reason, but there weren't anybody else that I was sat there thinking they were robbed, apart from Ollie Mack. But they're not going to give it to a player on a losing team, are they? That's just not what Sky do.
No, especially as he went off 50 minutes into the game, 55 minutes into the game. So at least a third of the game he wasn't playing in. So yeah,
you probably game that we got battered.
Yeah, pretty much. I want to say one thing about Harry Maguire before we move on. A couple of people around me booed when Harry Maguire's name got mentioned. I'm like, what have you got What have you got to boo Harry Maguire about? There's literally nothing. From a Sheffield United point of view, there's absolutely nothing to boo Harry Maguire for. He put in such a shift for the Blades for quite a few seasons in League One. He
Played
moved
more
on.
than 100 games in League One, didn't he?
Yeah, pretty much. So, yeah, I found that really, really silly. I understand him booing him when he kind of rolled off the pitch and then rolled back on. That was a
I'd have
little
booed him
bit.
for that.
But
I think I did.
but you'd have laughed if that were a Sheffield United player who did that. You'd have laughed, wouldn't you?
Well done. It's professional. Professional.
Yeah.
He's being professional.
Yeah, I've got no worries with players doing things like that. It's just smart at the end of the day. You're just playing the system, aren't you?
Yeah, it's annoying though. It is annoying.
It is
really
annoying, but
annoying,
that's life, isn't it? That's football. That's what
is.
players do. And yeah, he probably never fully left the pitch. That's probably the reason why he thought he were absolutely fine to do it. But they would have done it anyway. Like Harry Kane, when he was crawling back on the pitch for England that time. But no, I like Harry Maguire. I'd like to see him back at Bramall Lane at some point. I just don't feel like that will ever happen.
If he fancies it, we'll have him in January. Him and Kyle Walker both come in January, won't they?
Yeah, I'm sure they would. I'm sure we could afford him as well, definitely.
And Calvert-Lewin, he reckons he owes us one. We'll have all three. We'll have another injured striker, and then we'll have a decent defence.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah, that's it. But yeah, I think we've spoken a lot about this game. I thought we were fantastic for a lot of the game. Unfortunately, we keep It might have been the fact that McBurney went off. It also might be the fact that we wilt in games, especially when you're defending for a lot of it. It's tough.
We're so tired, aren't we, by the end? That's the thing. It's that we have nothing at all on bench. Like, the bench, the drop-off in quality is so big that you're better off not making subs. But then, because you don't make any subs, everybody's knackered. And you can see it visibly. So, I said it coming out at ground yesterday, and I sort of, obviously, tongue-in-cheek, but if we're going to win a game, we probably have to be 3-0 up after 75 minutes so that we can all just flop on floor and be tired and hang on. Because I don't see how we manage to hang on for a full 90 minutes without being able to make any subs at all. Because it's just not going to happen and we'll be knackered. So that is my biggest concern, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's it's frustrating to watch at times, but at the same time, I fancied him bringing on some youngsters last night. If we're 2-1 down, youngsters, fine with that. 1-1, I understand that you bring on professionals that you would think would try and see us out to get a point. But I don't know what it is, but Ryan One being on the bench, I was just thinking he looked massive. That boy has been eating his Weetabix.
I have to admit, when Osborne come on, I did think, should we have just gone for it and thrown One on?
And Slimani. Slimani's a big lad as well.
We should have gone for it. Like, it would have been fun. Like, it probably wouldn't have made a blind bit of difference to what actually happened in the game. No. But it would have just been, it would have given us something to go, oh. Whereas Osborne coming on, with no blame to Osborne at all. It's not his fault. He does everything that he can do to the best of his ability. But him coming on made the crowd go, oh, God. Yeah. Whereas put One on, put somebody on that makes you go, oh, maybe. Oh, this lad's exciting.
Something. And yeah. Maybe not Sariki because he's a fullback and you got Rashford running at you. No, we don't want to put him in. Not in that position. I
wouldn't have changed fullback.
But Ryan One going up against Harry Maguire, imagine he knocks Harry Maguire to the floor because he's massive at the end of the day. Imagine the eruption from the crowd if he bullies Harry Maguire off a ball or something like that. That gives him confidence.
How excited crowd would be when he picks it up 45 yards from goal, beats 6 men and finds top bins. I mean, would have been insane.
Is he Christian Nade or is he Christian Nade? I want to see it. I want to see him on the pitch, to be honest. And I know, like you say, he's probably not going to do it.
He's 17 at the end of the day, yeah, I mean, it's going to be what it's going to be. You can't put any hopes on him. But it would have given crowd a lift. And that's the only question that you've got to ask, isn't it? But it probably is expecting way too much, way too soon from a young lad who's not played much professional football, if any. So, yeah, I don't want to put too much pressure on him, but it just would have been a lift, I think, that people would have liked to see.
I think Slimani might have been a bit of a lift as well.
Slimani.
Because
Yeah.
I was saying on the match reaction about when you're playing against Man United and you're tired, you've played some good football early on, but you can clearly see the legs aren't quite there. Boot the ball high into the box. And we didn't have McBurney. Fair enough. But if you're bringing on Ryan O'Neill for a bit of height and you're bringing on Slimani for a little bit of height, at least you're putting a bit of pressure on.
Don't make us smaller, make us bigger. Because
Yeah.
at the end, we did try and pump some balls into the box, but we were never going to edit.
There was no one
because
there.
we were just so small by the end.
Yeah, we really were. Anyway,
Right,
let's leave it
down,
there.
Nick, so there's something else we've got to do.
We've
got 2 down, and you need to pick us back up. And there's only one way that you can pick everybody up at this moment in time, isn't there, Nick? Let's do the quiz.
Let's do the quiz. Come on. It's gonna have to be a quiz because we've rattled on for quite a while, and we will end on something else. So don't go anywhere. So,
I mean, to be fair as well, Nick, we've got to cut at least half of this, so we've probably got loads of time.
maybe. Right. So, quiz question number 1: name 5 players to have played for both Sheffield United and Man United.
John Kofi.
Yeah.
Harry Maguire.
Why do you always go John Kofi? Always.
He just sticks in my head. He's just stuck in my head. He lives there rent free. I told a joke when I was about 14 when he played for us. And I said, hey, John Kofi, he's so weak, we might as well call him Decaf. And it's stuck with me ever since. So, yeah, he's just stuck in my head since that point. And you're welcome, viewers. Not that anybody's still here, let's be honest. Henderson for 3.
Yep.
And this is where James Wilson. Did he ever play for Man U?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Take James Wilson. Oh, Keith Gillespie. Keith.
There we go. Are you sure he played for him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
I'm not going to. Oh, why have you done that?
No, I'm joking. I'm joking. You don't need to Google him. You shouldn't Google him. Stop Googling him.
All right. I stopped Googling him.
Right, okay. Good. Right. Second question. Which former Man United player scored for the Blades at Bramall Lane in 06-07? I'm not giving you any options either.
Keith.
This is why I was like, stop Googling. You can't do a quiz and start Googling, man.
I just wanted to, you put the fear of God in me that you said he didn't know if he played for Man U.
Yeah, because I was trying
Fortunately, I never actually Googled it, so I got away with it.
I think you're trying to cheat. Anyway, question number 3. Which current Blade won the annual Milk Cup Youth Tournament for Manchester United in 2013? This is possibly one of the hardest questions I've ever asked you.
The Milk Cup Youth in 2013 for Man U?
Yes, in Northern Ireland.
I feel as though you're in Northern... Oh, he's too old, isn't he? Is he too old? He must be. Because obviously you were a kid at Man U.
Who?
And he's Northern
You've not
Irish.
said a name yet.
Norwood.
Are you actually going for Norwood?
No, because he's too old.
Okay.
What's the age group?
I said 2013.
Yeah, what would Norwood be in 2013? About 20? 21, maybe.
Don't know.
He came through Man U. I'm going Norwood.
You sure?
Yeah.
No. No, I said it's the hardest question I'll ever ask because this player never actually played on Wikipedia for Man United. So, normally...
Has he ever played for us?
Well, yes, very much so. Actually scored against Manchester United in the game that we've just been talking about.
Ollie... What? McBurney?
So, Ollie McBurney, if you look on Wikipedia, never played for Man United. Not in the youth column, not in the professional column. So he went on loan to Manchester United for 1 month from Bradford City and won the Milk Cup Youth Tournament in Northern Ireland in 2013 as a 17-year-old lad.
Wow. Now fair play.
Do you know why I know that?
No.
Because
Were
I
you playing?
googled I googled Ollie McBurney, Manchester United, trying to find a picture of him celebrating for Twitter the goal that he scored under Chris Wilder in the first season
Yeah.
in the Premier League, and it showed him in a Man United shirt. I'm like, what is this? So I did a little bit of research, and that is what happened.
Wow. To be fair, yeah, that's a great bit of trivia.
It is, isn't it? It is.
Yeah. Made me look stupid with his Norwood shout.
Yeah, no. What else could you have done? I'd have gone Norwood as well because he's the only one that I
Yeah.
knew played for Man
Came
United.
through Man U's academy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No. That's a fair point. I was going to say which Sheff United player won a youth cup tournament, and I'm thinking Norwood must have won a youth cup tournament with Man United, so
Yeah.
that would have ruined it.
So you had to be specific.
Question number 4: which former Manchester United player and coach ended up at Bramall Lane as the assistant manager in 06-08? 06-08? 06-08, sorry.
Yeah. I don't know. I genuinely don't know.
To be fair, I could give you options here, but I think it might give it away. Okay, let's go for some. I'm going to think of some off the top of my head. Kevin Blackwell, Brian Robson, Brian Kidd, and Carsley. Lee Carsley.
I don't know. I really don't know.
I'm going to give you some options because you definitely wouldn't have got it without the options.
I have no idea. I have genuinely no idea. So I'm going to go. I don't remember Brian Kidd ever being at Bramall Lane. Blackwell will have been there before that point. Robson was never assistant manager, so I'm going for Carsley.
Who Brian Kidd?
Were it?
So that,
Do not remember that at all.
No, he was there.
Did he come with Robson, or did he come for Warnock?
Well, this is why I googled it, because I assumed that he would have come with Brian Robson because Man United connection, but he actually came to be Neil Warnock's number 2 in the Premier League, and then stayed to be Brian Robson's. He might have even had a hand in getting Robson the job. Robbo, like I know him.
Like he's a legend. I remember Robbo when he come in.
Robbo. My boy Robbo. Like we cared about him at all. So he stayed being Brian Robson's assistant, and then I think left when we got
never would have got that.
There you go.
Do not remember it at all.
I threw Lee Carsley in there, and I had to Google to make sure Lee Carsley never played for Man United as well, because obviously he was assistant at one point as well.
Yeah,
like
and
David
that's
Unsworth
the
was
only
as well.
I had is that I remember him being some part of our backroom team, and therefore was like, well, it must be him, because I can't remember any of the others ever being in.
No. So there you go.
England manager now, isn't it? England manager now, isn't he, Carsley?
Yeah, under 21s. Yeah. They all seem to like him. I don't know why I've never liked him. I've just never liked him. But
you don't like bald people, do you?
No, I've been on record many times to say I don't like bald people.
Yeah. I know. It's been the one defining quality of your personality is that I know you don't like bald people.
My dad's bald, and I'm probably going to be bald
you've never
in the
liked
next
him.
few years. I definitely don't like myself.
Exactly. It all stacks up.
Now, question number 5, mate, to finish this off. Harry Maguire played for Sheffield United and then eventually ended up at Manchester United as he is right now. Played quite a few years for the Blades, played quite a few years for Man United too. However, which club has he played more games at on Wikipedia? So this is league games.
Ooh, and that's us or them?
Yep.
Because I assume he played more for Leicester than either of us. And I thought that was going to be the question. I thought you were going to say, but which team has he played the most games for? And I was going to be like, Leicester. And then you were going to be like, oh, he's done me. But that's apparently not what you were asking. Who's he played more for? United or Manchester?
Wait a second. You're talking absolute nonsense. He only played 69 times for Leicester in the league. And he's played for both Sheff United and Man United for more than 100 games. So, Ollie,
wow,
you're chatting absolute nonsense on this Sunday night.
Yeah. I mean, there's not much new there, to be honest, mate. I mean, as our viewers or listeners or whoever will tell you, Ollie's always chatting nonsense, whether it's a Sunday night, a Monday night, or any other day of the week. I'm going to say that he's played more for us.
Okay. 134 games for Sheffield United between 2011 and 2014. 2019 to 2023, he played 121. Well done. Well done, mate.
You know what? The only reason I got it was I was thinking we play 46 game seasons, and that was the only qualifier I had. I was like, well, they play 10 games a season less on average-ish, and so let's say that it's us.
Yeah. To be fair, mate, he's only 13 games behind, according to Wikipedia. It could be all wrong. Well, it is Wikipedia after all. But,
exactly. And they've forgotten 100 games that he played for Leicester on Wikipedia. So,
And do you know what the funny thing is as well, mate? Yeah, I didn't say that in for a second. The funny thing is as well, he's played 60 games for England, which is practically half the games, and he scored almost double the amount of goals for England.
Yeah, well, slabhead, innit? Loves an England game.
Slabhead, innit? And he does love an England game. That's probably because he don't get to play for Man United that much.
Yeah, so he just turns up for England with big noggin, smashing in, and also Trippier's delivery is on point, innit? So
yeah, that's true. But they do have Bruno Fernandes, Christian Eriksen, other good footballers too. Anyway. And that's it. That's the quiz done, mate. That's the quiz done. Hey. Well done. I think you got 3 from 5, but I ended up being a very, very long quiz. My final question to you, Heke, obviously we played a lot better in the last game. How many more games has he got as Sheffield United manager if we carry on in this vein?
When is the next international break, I think, is a really important question.
I think we've got 3 or 4 games before the next one.
I thought we'd got 3 more. And that obviously includes Wolves and might include Brentford or Bournemouth. I think if we lose to Arsenal, that's a write-off. No blame. Yep. As long as it's not 6-7-8-0, that'll be fine. So no issues there. Don't beat Wolves at home. Pressure starts to come. And then lose or don't beat Brentford or Bournemouth or whoever it is we play the game after that. I think the next international break will be a real talking point if we're not on 5 points by the next international break. Or 4 is probably more realistic, but if we're not on 4 or 5 points next international break, I do think there'll be a real decision to make. Whether I agree with the decision or not is a different question, but I do think that's when the pressure will really start to tell.
You get to a point where you're thinking, do we want to be known as that team that's got the lowest points in Premier League history?
Again.
Well, yeah, we started the worst, but we certainly didn't finish the worst, and we could finish the worst. And that would be 2 of the Premier League records that were taken within 3, 4 seasons, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the thing is, once Prince Abdullah leaves the club, yes, I'm sure he'll have an affiliation with the club for the rest of his life and he'll look out for the scores, but it won't hurt him as much as it'll hurt us.
No.
I know this sounds really stupid to say, but I think I would rather us not get that. If we finish with 9 points this season and then went straight back up, I think I would rather us finish on 20 and not go straight back up, because that will live with us forever, because everybody talks about Derby's points total. That will be Sheffield United's points total. It'll be on everybody's lips forever until somebody else breaks it, which may not be for a long time. Like Derby, can't remember when they got this points total. It was over 10 years ago. 10, probably.
Probably 20, I think.
And before that, I don't know who it was, but now everybody remembers the Derby points total because it was so low. If we ended up being that team that got even lower points than Derby, we'll never hear the end of it. Like Derby aren't hearing the end of it right now. Yeah. So Like,
I
we
think
will
as
get
well-
promoted to the Premier League more. It'll happen. We'll get relegated in the next few years, whether it's this year, next year, the year after,
Come on,
unless
Nick.
we get a billionaire or 2 billionaire owners. We will never forget and never hear the end of if we beat Derby's points total.
No, we can't beat the points total. I think as well, it's telling Derby have never been back. Like, they've never got back to the Premier League after that.
No.
And I think there's an emotional scarring that has such an impact on a club. You can't get relegated like that. We can't. If that is genuinely in doubt, then there's no option but to make significant changes as soon as possible. And I think if we get through 13, 14 games and we're still sat on 1, 2, 3, then we have to have a conversation about it, because we can't get less. I mean, it's just one of them where it does stay with you forever. And I think there's an emotional scarring to it that will really, really affect the club. I think so far, obviously, we've been a little bit fortunate that other teams in the division have also had bad starts. You know, Bournemouth have only got 3, Burnley have only got 4, Luton have got 5, but that's all within touching distance. As soon as that becomes, well, Burnley have got 11, Luton have got 12, Bournemouth have got 10,
We've got 2.
we've got 2. That is a big, big problem. And so, we need to pick up some points as soon as we can. I think there have been promising signs. I think, obviously, the game against Man U was a promising sign. But how we get a win, I just don't know, because I just don't see defensive solidity. I don't see 90 minutes of a performance. And we're still not exactly free-flowing in creating chances. No. So, there's a lot of work to do. And I do think that, like I say, at the next international break, if we're still in this position, then there will be big, big, big questions for Prince Abdullah to answer.
I don't think Hecky's a bad manager per se. I don't think Wilder was a bad manager per se when we lost all those games and we went 16 games without a win in the Premier League. I think sometimes it just needs a change. And maybe, like we said, if we go another 4 or 5 games without a win, maybe it just needs to change. It's frustrating because he's the victim of his own success to a certain extent, but we did have a really good team last season. We had a generational talent lighting up the league. So he did really well, and he actually came in the Premier League and did really well as well. We picked up quite a few wins at the back end of that season, and he picked us up off his knees. And he did the same when Slav was the manager too, and we were poor. So I think
he available to come in and pick us up off his knees now? Can we hire him instead?
Okay, I think it's a Slav. I'm like, definitely not Slav.
No, I meant Heke.
Yeah. It would be nice. It honestly would be nice to have that Heke back and kind of forget that he was the manager and come in and have that bounce, because I think he's a good manager, and I think he would really.
He's a good manager. I think he's a nice guy. I think, obviously, though, these kind of things happen, and it's football, and we have to make a change at some point. I'm not advocating it for it now. I don't think now's the right time. I still think Heke's great. I do think that some fans are over-egging a little bit what the achievement was last season, because while there was many off-field issues, that was a team that should have got promoted out of the Championship that did get promoted, and did so in a brilliant way, and I will never put a dampener on that, but it was the expectation.
So, obviously, we don't want to see the man leave the club. We want to see him do very, very well and kind of weather this storm, and even if we don't stay up in the Premier League, we want to see us pick up some points, finish on 20, 30 points, something like that, and give a real go.
If we could finish on 50, that'd be great.
50 would be fantastic. Let's just say we did that. Yeah? Just say we did it.
Yeah. Of course we did. Remember that time we finished on 50 points? So that's the most anyone's ever got relegated with as well. It was ridiculous.
Right, mate. Thank you very much. As always, it's been fantastic to speak to you. And let's not leave it too late next time.
Yeah, sounds like a plan to me. Always enjoy it, Nick.
See you later, mate.